This is version 2.1 Spiral Abyss Floor 12. I'm also showcasing my new team, Eula, Raiden, Bennett and Venti. In this Eula team, Raiden replaces both Fischl and Diona, because she enables both Superconduct and provides energy to Eula. This allows us to add in a flex pick, Venti. While this seems a little strange at first, I like it because Raiden's charged attacks strike a very wide area and can hit enemies sucked into the air by Venti's burst. This team has a balance of physical and elemental damage, strong at both single target and multi-target chambers. Raiden's burst can provide about 28 energy to the entire team. Compare this to Diona, who produces 8 cryoparticles on average, with 2 casts of her elemental skill using a sacrificial bow. She gives 24 energy to Eula, assuming Eula has no energy recharge bonus. It's a no-brainer to use my Ganyu team on part 2, because there are some annoying enemies that fly in the air or even float backwards away from you. Again, this is a slightly unconventional team. It's sort of a Ganyu melt team, but instead of focusing on getting bigger melts, I just throw on more damage from double Geo and allow melt reactions to occur in both directions. It is not going to produce the fastest clear of any floor, particularly because I give up having an Anemo user for the 40% resistance reduction. Also, the damage from Albedo eats up some of the pyro gauge, so it interferes with the double melt reaction from Ganyu's charged shots. However, there are some good upsides to this team. It's mechanically simpler to play because I don't have to worry about swirling the correct element to gain the 40% resist reduction. I also gain a very strong resonance bonus from having double Geo characters. In particular, where enemies are scattered, it's hard to go through the perfect steps of applying cryo, swirling it for the resist down, then applying pyro, then melting it with a charged shot. Here, I can just shoot them directly with Ganyu and benefit from the Geo Resonance damage bonus and from Albedo's Transient Blossom damage. Magu Kenki seems to be a regular character in the Abyss nowadays. He is both tanky and does high damage. With this team, I will be rotating between using Eula's and Raiden's burst. As a note, Eula's burst does not snapshot, so you want the Lightfall Sword to explode while Bennett's attack buff is still active. Bennett's attack buff lingers for about a second after the red indicator on the ground disappears, so my Eula burst still crits for about 300,000 damage. Where possible, I use invulnerability frames from the burst to avoid damage. Venti's burst always overshoots big melee enemies, so he's not that great here in Chamber 2 and Chamber 3. You could dash backwards if you wanted to land more reliably, but I don't need the damage it provides. I'm mainly interested in landing his elemental skill to reduce the enemy electro resistance prior to me swapping Raiden in. You can see here I'm a bit energy starved on Eula, and I spent some time farming energy particles. However, running Diona would lead to the same result, because it takes her about 5 seconds to provide the energy to Eula anyway. Unfortunately, the second burst from Eula fails to crit, only doing 120,000 damage. If it did crit, this chamber would end immediately. This is a weird level for Ganyu. I'm not quite sure if we can group the two enemies who just seem to like to stand at opposite ends of the level. This makes clearing the level very annoying and slow. One note about the Cryo Sissin mage: she raises a cryo shield that will refresh itself as long as the 3 Sissins are alive, and she can resummon them if they die. So this mob really punishes single target DPS. My Xiangling is also energy starved in this team, in general because Bennett is in the other team and I'm not running an energy recharge sans. She's currently at 154% energy recharge, and in situations like these with few particles coming from enemies, she's only regenerating half the energy required for her 80 energy burst. Even if I run an energy sans, this only brings her to about 200% energy recharge, which is still not enough to recharge a burst within the duration of this fight. In any case, this is a moot point because I haven't managed to find a good energy recharge sans for her, so it all depends on luck. Chamber 3 Part 1 is really quick, except that I need to spend the first 10 seconds getting my energy back. This is where having flexibility in the team is good. The Ruin Guards have 70% physical resist, so we can buff Raiden with Bennett and make her the main DPS. Again, Venti here ends up mostly useless because his burst overshoots the enemy as they run towards him. As a note about Raiden, there are a number of theory crafting videos which show which attack rotation is optimal for her. Again, I don't necessarily optimize for maximum damage, but more for ease of use. As a rule, her charged attacks have a huge area of effect, so it's good in situations like these, but it drains your stamina. It is a good thing the last level was quick, because we have to do well over 2 million points of damage on this floor. The Perpetual Mechanical Array is a 3-phase fight. You first do enough damage to the cube in the center that it splits into multiple enemies in phase 2. One of the enemies gets enhanced. You have to destroy it to move to phase 3, where the pieces lie dormant on the ground for about 20 seconds. It becomes vulnerable to damage in this third phase, with a base minus 20% to all resistances. After that, the fight resets back to the start. I make a couple of mechanical mistakes with this fight. I think the whole chamber can be done in under 2 minutes. Placing the geoconstructs from Zhongli and Albedo within the hitbox of the enemy cube causes them to just vanish, so I lose the damage from them for a while. Secondly, during phase 3, I thought you could land damage on the secondary constructs as well, so I misplaced my go bar and other constructs. There also might be some benefits to saving Xiangling's burst for use during the vulnerability phase in phase 3. Lastly, I suppose the previous level could be optimized by about 10 seconds if I started the floor with full Raiden energy, which I would have if Eula's second burst had crit. So while this level seems to have taken me a long time, I'm not too worried because there is a lot of room for improvement. As usual, my gear stats are in the description of the video. Thanks for watching and see you next time.